What's going on, Jerome's? So we're back taking a look at another mock draft from Pro Football Focus. Now, we enjoy doing these reaction and breakdown videos to mock drafts just because they're all different. Well, even though every single draft has Gregory Rousseau to the Vikings, but yeah, for that we thank you. But it gives you a different perspective on what could happen because the NFL draft, I'm trying to think of something that is more subjective, but everyone thinks that their view is objective. Nah. Now, every single perspective really does matter in this spot, and you don't really know what's going to happen on draft night in April, especially after that first trade goes down, and then everyone's mock draft goes by the wayside. So this is from Anthony Triash, analyst over at PFF. There's a lot of interesting things going on. Like, it is going down, baby, so let's go. So first off, yes, Trevor Lawrence. I do not think that Urban Meyer is going to go Justin Fields in this spot just because he played at Ohio State. He never actually coached him at Ohio State. But coming on in, yeah, Trevor Lawrence, who's been the number one overall pick for 3 years. Urban Meyer gets his guy plus. The Jaguars have 5 picks in the top 65, 2 1s, 2 2s, and have about like $75-80 million of cap space. Okay, now I do understand why Urban Meyer thought that Jacksonville was a good spot. Plus, it's really close to Gainesville. Plus, there's no state income tax. Yeah. 2, so you got the Jets going with Zach Wilson. And I still think that there's a decent chance that they run it back with Sam Darnold, and then they go in a different direction at 2. Either they auction it off, maybe they stick and pick with Penny Sewell. They got Robert Saleh in the building now as their new head coach. I think it's a great hire. Maybe they trade down and go defense in the spot. Because could you imagine if the Jets are able to trade down, say, to 7? Maybe the Lions come up for Fields, or maybe the Panthers come up for Fields, and then they get like Micah Parsons. How ridiculous for a defensive head coach. But if this is the case, Joe Douglas is drafting his guy. Remember, he wasn't in the building when Sam Darnold was drafted in 2018. So going to get it? Sure. Let's see here. Number 3. Oh, yeah. So Justin Fields at the Dolphins. Now, if this happens, like, wherever the hell the draft is going to be, it's probably going to be online this year. Like, the doors will be blown off the roof. Like, this will be bat bleep insane. All of the draft boards and projections go out the window. So they are going to Rosen Tua. And it's unfortunate, but Tua comes into play a little bit later in this draft. But for the Dolphins, I get it. You get this big-armed, face of the franchise type guy. Tua, maybe you're not particularly sold on him, even though you did make him your pick at number 5 overall. You could have had Justin Herbert, who went 6 to the Chargers. But getting Justin Fields as that brand-new leader of the franchise, sure. 4, so the Falcons. I think the Falcons and their new GM, Arthur Smith, reportedly is going to be offered the head coaching job, which would be a great spot. But Matt Ryan, longer in the tooth, contract, whatever. Now, they ideally would have liked if one of the big 3 quarterbacks would have fell, but isn't the case. Could you see them taking Penny Sewell here, or just putting him wherever, even though you do have Matthews? Sure. But getting Jamar Chase in this spot. People forget how good Jamar Chase friggin' is, man. His 2019 tape, 20 touchdowns, ridiculous. But it's going to be Jamar Chase. It's going to be Calvin Ridley for the long haul. You got the leftovers of Julio. Maybe you trade Julio. It is a possibility. But either way, Arthur Smith and the new GM get themselves a great dynamic offensive weapon. 5 Bengals. So the Bengals just sitting behind this fray and like all this nonsense going on. They're like, okay, we still get our guy. Awesome. Yeah, protect Joey Burrow at all costs. 6, the Eagles. So they miss out on Jamar Chase. They miss out on the LSU wide receiver yet again. But taking Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner, I think that Waddle still could go ahead of Smith just because I think teams may fall in love with his straight line speed. But just given the talent, yes, if you ignore the frame, all that stuff, Devontae Smith is an absolute playmaker. So Devontae Smith, a healthy Jalen Reagor for Jalen Hurts. Not going to be Carson Wentz. For whoever the hell the head coach is going to be, I like it. So 7, the Lions. Now, you could see the Lions going quarterback here, depending on what happens with Matthew Stafford. You're going to have a new GM. You're going to have a new head coach. But if you're going to try and get him some weapons and you have to settle on Jalen Waddle, that's not bad. That's not bad, man. So Jalen Waddle, some straight line speed. They're going to lose Baby Tron. They're probably going to lose Marvin Jones at free agency as well. So Stafford, if they're going to rally around him one more time, he's going to need some weapons, and Jalen Waddle's a great one. 8 Panthers. Ooh. So At the beginning of the season, if you said that Mac Jones is going to be drafted ahead of Trey Lance, I think you would have made a lot of money. But Mac Jones, number 8 to the Panthers. Wow. Now, I actually think that the Panthers are closer than a lot of people think. They're a young, fun, hungry team. And I think that if you do have a solid game manager at quarterback, they do have that currently with Teddy Bridgewater, but a guy for the future, just a guy who can distribute to Christian McCaffrey, your 3 great wide receivers as well. Keep some protection in terms of Taylor Moton in front of him. And Teddy can be your bridge quarterback, pardon the pun. But in terms of the unlimited upside of like a Trey Lance, not quite there, but I think Mac Jones certainly has a much higher floor at this stage. I think that's what Rule and Tepper are betting on. 9. So the Broncos sitting at 9, even though 4 quarterbacks off the board, and they just get Trey Lance. They get all of the 6'4", 226, and pride of NDSU, rocket arm, great athleticism. Oh, okay. Yeah, we get him. Yeah, so we got Drew Lock, former second-round pick. We got no pants for Trey Lance. Let's go. Let's get that thing going. I actually do like. I think it's a phenomenal first pick for George Payton. Number 10. So the Cowboys a lot like the Bengals. They're just watching all this nonsense going on ahead of them, and then they still get their choice of the top cornerbacks. They're like, oh, okay. So we could go Patrick Surtain, but Caleb Farley is absolutely that guy. Phenomenal press cornerback. He's going to be physical. He's going to take away other teams' wide receiver ones, and yeah, they need a lot of help on that defensive back end. Even though Trevon Diggs is pretty damn solid, but yeah, starting an overhaul of Farley, that's not bad for Dallas. 11. So Big Blue gets a big target in Kyle Pitts, where it's almost unfair to call him a tight end. I think you should call him a wide receiver, and he does have the potential to be a generational talent because he's got the size, he's got the speed, he is borderline uncoverable, and Daniel Jones does need that. Now, I think Giants fans might be snake bitten because Evan Ingram has been sort of. But yeah, Kyle Pitts is going to be Daniel Jones' best friend to give him the best shot of succeeding. 12. Here's where it gets nuts. So. The Niners are like, well, poop. We're picking at 12, but in the top 11 picks, 5 quarterbacks have gone. We still want our guy for the future. And then John Lynch gets on the horn with Chris Greer and is like, hey, we'll give you 12 for Tua. And Chris Greer is like, okay. Wow. So then the Dolphins take Micah Parsons, which, if you're Brian Flores, you get this phenomenal off-ball linebacker, the best one in the draft, potentially going to be one of the best ones in the league in short order, and you get your quarterback of the future, the guy that you really want in Justin Fields. I mean, my goodness. And you still have a first-round pick, by the way. Wow. It's a great time down in South Beach. 13. So you got the Chargers. Their offensive line was booty. It was straight up booty this year. Now, Sam Cosmi ends up being the second offensive lineman off the board behind Penny Sewell. Could this happen? You certainly see the physical upside. Like, I actually think that Cosmi's going to come in. I think that he will be the Becton of the combine this year. Not in the same body-wise and stylistically, but he's going to test through the roof in terms of speed, athleticism, explosiveness as well. But put him on Justin Herbert's blind side and then go hunt. 14. So the Vikings just watching all this nonsense happen, and they're like, okay, so we have the choice of Kwity Paye and Gregory Rousseau and Christian Darrisaw and Alex Leatherwood and a whole bunch of other like Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney, Azeez Ujulari is on board. All right, so we're just sitting here like, oh, I mean, okay, yeah, we missed out on the quarterbacks, but here's the thing. If 4 or 5 quarterbacks go ahead of the Vikings, that is 1 or 2 more names that can just fall down, matriculate down the board to the Vikings, which is great. It's a phenomenal spot for them. So I'm taking Kwity Paye in this spot. Again, I know everyone, their mom has Rousseau to the Vikings, but Kwity Paye is the right away. Put him in the lineup, can play all 3 downs. Edge rusher, kick him inside a little bit. He's phenomenal. He's an absolute rock star. I think would be a phenomenal get for the Vikings. So check that box. 15. So the Patriots miss out on the big 5 quarterbacks. This is way too early for Kyle Trask, but shoring up that wide receiver group, Rashad Bateman, using that big body, 6'2", 210 pounds, outside the numbers type guy, working with Jacoby Myers, and whatever is left of Julian Edelman. Yeah, so they don't get their quarterback, but maybe. Actually, I don't even know who they'll target in the second round. That's kind of rough, but I do like Bateman to the Patriots. 16. Cardinals. So Patrick Surtain takes a little draft day tumble. It's okay. Ends up in Arizona. Steps in right away for Patrick Peterson. And yeah, they're off to the races there. 17, the Raiders. So, I mean, the Raiders have problems. Offensive line could use some freshening. Pass rush definitely could use some freshening. Secondary, not so much. So Trevin Moehrig, the first safety off the board out of TCU. Now, if you watch back some Jeff Gladney tape, Ardarius Washington as well as Moehrig will pop out on the tape for you. But yeah, they need help at safety. Jim Thorpe award winner. Put him on the back end of that Mike Mayock, John Gruden defense, and then go from there. Oh, and Gus Bradley, even though they announced it as Ken Whisenhunt. It's funny. 18. Dolphins. So like we said, the Dolphins have Justin Fields, and then they picked up Micah Parsons from trading Tua, and now they just get Rondale Moore. So just cancel the AFC East, even the Bills, because this is over. It is over. The Dolphins, they already are building a great defense under Flores, and now offensively, wow. So they got Rondale Moore with Devontae Parker, maybe Preston Williams pans out. Myles Gaskins looks like he's pretty damn legit, and now you get Justin Fields and Gesicki. Get some freshen up that offensive line in day 2, and then we can talk. 19. So Washington takes Christian Darrisaw. Would have certainly liked to have one of the big 5 quarterbacks, but ain't happening in this spot as all 5 of them went in the first 9 picks. But picking up Darrisaw here to take over the left side. Now, they never really fully replaced Trent Williams, but now they finally did. Also keeping him in state. 20 Bears. So you could easily see them taking offensive line. In fact, they probably should. I think if Darrisaw would have gotten to 20, they would have taken him. But Kadarius Toney in this spot. Allen Robinson is going to leave in free agency. Darnell Mooney and Tariq Cohen and Kadarius Toney in terms of offensive weapons. Wow. You really, really do like that. I mean, it's good weapons for Mitchell Trubisky-Ponder just to not use. 21. So the Colts. I don't know if this is published before or after Costanzo was retiring, but offensive line, their depth, they definitely need to add something here. But Rousseau might just be too good for them to pass up. And even though they have a pretty damn stout front 7, just adding him in this spot, he could be a rotational guy for a year, maybe 2, before as he fills out and learns some technical refinements. But yeah, just bring him in, and he could be a 25-30 snap a game pass rush savant. Yeah, I like it. 22. So the Titans have been looking for this consistent edge rush presence, and it didn't happen with Clowney. It didn't happen with Vic Beasley. So they're finally just going to draft a guy, Azeez Ojulari, coming on in. Put him with Jeffrey Simmons. Put him with Harold Landry. That's redonkulous. That is pretty redonkulous. Number 23. So the Jets on the clock again. They already got Zach Wilson, the quarterback of the future. Now Robert Saleh gets himself a little bit of toys. That's right. J.C. Horn coming out of South Carolina, so Robert Saleh is a proponent of the cover 3 defense. The one that helped Richard Sherman blossom into a superstar from Seattle and as well as San Francisco. Now I think he may implement that again in New York. I think that's a great landing spot for Richard Sherman as a free agent. But bring in a young guy who can play zone and can excel at press man in situations. Let's go. 24. So they got the Steelers. Oh, yeah, because they lost. So 24, the Steelers. Now, they would have liked quarterback for sure, but offensive line does need some revamping as well. So Villanueva's going to leave in free agency. They could need some help at guard as well. DeCastro sort of aged out, even though you got voted All-Pro again. Nah. So Slater can come in. He can play left tackle. He can play one of the guard spots and protect whoever the hell is going to be the next quarterback of the Steelers. 25. So the Jaguars, they got Trevor Lawrence. This is their second first-round pick from the Jalen Ramsey trade from the Rams. So they going on quarterback again. Darian Kendrick coming out of Clemson. Can be locked down. Sort of crapped himself in big games, but I don't know. Maybe they'll fit in with Urban Meyer and company. But Darian Kendrick as well as C.J. Henderson. Yeah, you like that combination. 26. Got the Browns. So Browns edge rusher, kind of a big need opposite of Myles Garrett, but picking up Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, joke on a Notre Dame. Great coverage linebacker with range. It's going to be needed in division with Joe Burrow, as well as a guy who could potentially shadow Lamar Jackson to the best of his ability. I like this pickup for Kevin Stefanski and company. 27, the Buccaneers bolstering that defensive line with Christian Barmore, the superstar from the college football playoffs coming out of Alabama. Ndamukong Suh, mercenary, probably going to be gone. Golston is aging out as well. So injecting some fresh blood into the middle of that Bucs defense, I think it's really smart. 28. So, yeah, the Ravens wide receiver seems hand in glove, but yeah, like everyone talks about Olave or Bateman if he falls this far, but Elijah Moore from Ole Miss. Now, I really do like Elijah Moore. I'm actually kind of hoping that he falls deep into day 2 so that the Vikings can scoop him up. Even though, yes, another slot receiver. Yes. Slot wide receiver for Lamar. Going to be a security blanket, big-time playmaker, a guy who eats up zone defenses for breakfast. I like him, man. So you got Elijah. You got Boykin who's starting to come on. Also, you have Hollywood on the outside. It's a nice trio. 29. So you got the Saints taking Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. Now, Zaven Collins is a dude. Now, it sucks because I have to hate him. But Demario Davis is 32, and Collins can come in and play off ball. He can rush. He can play in the middle. He can do all those things. It's going to be a phenomenal piece for the middle of that Saints defense. 30, even though, could they go Kyle Trask here? Maybe. 30, Bills. Elijah Vera Tucker, just an absolute tough, fierce lineman from USC. Can play some guard, can play some tackle. I think his best position in the league is going to be guard. Come in and replace John Feliciano, who potentially could be leaving in free agency, maybe to the Vikings. And then also 31 and 32. So I got the Packers at 31, picking up a wide receiver. Oh, yeah, Aaron Rodgers finally gets a wide receiver, but Chris Olave from Ohio State, big-time playmaker who'll be opposite of Davante Adams. Had himself a nice little playoff run. And then 32, the Chiefs picking up Jason Oweh from Penn State. Like, how would you like to be the Chiefs, man? So you can just sit at the back end of this draft and you get physical freaks with massive upside like a wedge just falling in your lap. Because Tano Passano, second-round pick from Villanova, didn't work out. Plus, he's out of contract. So he comes in and put Oweh opposite of Frank Clark. My goodness. But guys who didn't get drafted. So Alex Leatherwood, the tackle out of Alabama, easily could see him going. Davion Nixon, defensive tackle from Iowa, only one D tackle, went in this draft in the first round. That was Christian Barmore to the Bucks. Wyatt Davis, obviously with the injury, it's going to cost him a little bit. Tyson Campbell, Shaun Wade. Well, we know why Shaun Wade didn't go. Carlos Basham, the edge rusher from Wake Forest. You could have seen him slide into the back end of the first round, especially if teams want to emphasize more size on the edge. Trask, of course, we mentioned. I think you could see Nick Bolton sneaking in somewhere in the first round. Jalen Phillips, Joseph Asai. It kind of is what sort of flavor do you want on the edge? Also, no running backs in the first round, but of course it's PFF. But you could see Etienne from Clemson. You could see Najee Harris coming on in. Dylan Moses didn't get in, but that was expected. Terrace Marshall as well. Could you see him going to the Packers or the Ravens in their wide receiver spots, as well as Javon Hollins didn't quite make it as well. I think he potentially could flirt to the back end of the first round. Trevor Morgan, the only safety taken in round 1. But that's it. I mean, if this went down and the Vikings just end up with Kwity Paye, given all those choices at 14, that's a really interesting spot. But I think that their trade down leverage certainly goes down with all 5 of the big 5 quarterbacks off the board, because I think an interesting leverage point would be the pick ahead of the Patriots, where they're potentially telegraphing that they're going to be drafting quarterback if one of the big 5 falls, potentially even 2 of them. So, I mean, the Vikings just stick and pick and get Kwity Paye. Okay. I am in, man. But I love this. And again, this is just an exercise of seeing all the craziness that could happen. Yes, the Dolphins could take quarterback. Yes, there could be a massive run on quarterbacks, causing a lot of talented non-quarterbacks to matriculate down the draft board, which would be great for the Vikings and company. So let's get it. Let's get it, man. But your thoughts, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for Daily Vikings Takes. Want to support that work, pull some of the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.